Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
So we've heard this word for years, and I know many of us feel it's beneficial, but not in detail. Like, why is it so good? Why have people been practicing this for literally centuries? I'm talking about meditation. So we're going to dig into that. Also, something called Qigong. It's one of the modalities that he offers at his facility, Creating Change in Florida. He's Mark Hayward, and he's back with us. Hey, Mark, how are you?
Hey Steve, how you doing? I'm doing great, thanks.
Yeah, it's great to have you back here. I know meditation is good. I honestly learn more about it as time goes on every week. Try to
Sure.
practice it. I think there's a lot of misconceptions. When we say meditation, people immediately have that visual of somebody sitting here like this and with their legs crossed. And
Yeah.
not just what it is. Can we break that down exactly what meditation is and what it does?
Um, well, there's some it's multi-leveled, but yes, there's a lot of sort of heaviness that comes when you use the word meditation, and I do my best to leave it out because of the resistance that seems to come up. There's an energy of resistance when that conversation comes up, which is quite a phenomenon that I'm trying to get on top of and understand completely. It's such a simple task. You can start from wherever you are at, and it provides you with such tremendous gains that it's really intriguing to me why we and I say we. I've been practicing it about 25 years, and I still struggle at times with consistency. And like everything, consistency is the key. But
Hmm.
as I said, there are different types of meditation, but basically, what we're attempting to do in a nutshell is to still the mind. Our thoughts and our feelings direct the movie of our lives.
Hmm.
So they are core of our life experience. They create our beliefs and our perceptions, where our, to stay in line with that analogy, the executive producers of our life experience. Our beliefs and our perceptions are the filter through which we see our world. So the thoughts and beliefs are the cornerstones of those marks. And so it's pretty important. You know, I got inspired and started a blog on my website, and the inspiration was the phenomenon of why doesn't everybody meditate? I mean, in my mind, it's the most important thing we should be doing as human beings. And
Hmm.
it turned into a 4 article post, this extra long post. So if you ever got 30, 40 minutes to kill, Steve, go to my website and read that blog on why meditate. But essentially, when I am coaching it, and I'm a believer in baby steps. It's really just about finding the space and the time to just sit, stand, lay, whatever's comfortable for you, and just use various techniques that tame what they call the monkey brain, and just bringing it down. And what happens is your brain waves change from different levels, and you become in this state of reception. You're able to receive. You're able to connect with the flow, the universal flow, and then all kinds of beautiful things happen. But there's multi levels to it, and everybody's experience is different. There are some specific patterns that we tend to go through as we practice this meditation, and as you suggested, it's a personal experience. It's a journey, and every time, every stage, there are certain stages. There are different developments within that stage, but all it takes is you really just sitting down and disconnecting and letting go. And there are various techniques that I coach to help people get through that process.
In in your experience over the years of meditating, do you recall a profound moment, an aha moment where you got clarity, or it somehow it propelled your life quicker than usual after a certain meditation?
Um, I've had countless aha moments. The different brave waves that you get into, there's a certain level that you get to where there's sort of an opening, a portal, if you will, where messages come. The messages come in silence. They don't come in the noise. It's very difficult to receive profound messaging when there's a lot of noise running around. When you have multi screens and multi things going on, and we do all the time. We have there's 25 television shows going on in our head at the same time. So it's very difficult to get true, profound messaging. The truth. It's very hard for the truth to filter through that. So the messages come in silence. So I've had many aha moments. Now, those aha moments are sort of revelations or answers, certain questions that I've been struggling with. They're very subtle. They're very profound, but they're subtle. They don't make my life change dramatically. That's a myth. They're little pieces. They're little answers. They're messages. How you utilize them and how you apply them it needs to be a step-by-step process to change. We are programmed from childhood. We have layers of programming. We're programmed by the TV. We're programmed by our peers. We're programmed by our coworkers, our teachers, our family members. There's so much programming being dumped on us. And it's very loud, it's very noisy, it's very thick. So when you begin a process of meditation, of stilling that and shutting that off, these little messages that come through, these intuitive messages that come from your body and they come to your awareness, they're little pieces for you to become aware of your programming. First of all, you can't dismantle something you're not aware of. So they are little revelations going, oh, maybe that's not true. Maybe I don't need to act like that. Maybe I don't need to respond to that. Maybe I don't need to believe that. So it's a little insight. So the idea is you take those little insights and you start to formulate a transformation to yourself, to your core, to your higher self, if you will, to your God, whatever works for you. So it's not like you're going to meditate for 2 weeks and get these aha moments and then your life's going to be all, rainbows and butterflies. It just doesn't work like that. They're little moments. They're little beautiful, blissful moments that you string together and you apply them and you heed them and you slowly transform day by day. Now, I like to use this phrase because it's a journey and people are very stuck on the end of the journey, the goal, the destination. Oh, I want to be like Buddha, right? And the idea of where you're starting from now to being like Buddha is very heavy. It seems so long. It seems so unattainable. And that concept and that belief sometimes keeps people from practicing. They say, oh, I can't, it's too much. How many times I've heard, oh, I can't meditate, I've tried. It's funny. It's hilarious when I hear that. Even though you start a practice or you're in the middle of a practice or wherever you are with your practice, even though you may feel like this is taking so long, this transformation is tough, whatever you're feeling, it doesn't matter because every moment you spend sitting with yourself in stillness, developing your awareness, connecting with self, every moment you're transforming. You're making micro transformations. You may not feel it, you may not be aware of it, but trust me, it's happening. So it's all good. You don't have to. It's not about becoming Buddha. It's about the journey to emulating Buddha, if that's your choice, if that's the idea you want to get to. We don't all have to be Buddha at all.
I appreciate you sharing that. And those little moments add up. Last fall, I spent some time with somebody. I'm not even sure what we were doing, to be honest with you. I think it was sort of a energy healing kind of meditation, but she had me stare at an object. And the object was one of those squishy balls, like the little spikes come out. It's like maybe that big. Yeah, different colors. I picked the purple one, put it on just a pole, and just it was sitting out there. And she goes, just stare at that. Some music was playing low in the background, just instrumental. So I stared at it, and I felt I started getting transformed. It was the weirdest thing. And I got to believe that was meditation. And it took me back to when I was in my low 20s and this was a Saturday morning. So it took me back to a Saturday morning where every Saturday morning I would mix music as a DJ. I go back to my mom's house and that's where the equipment was set up. And that was my happy spot. And I even heard the music come back into my mind. Then I saw myself on a high school track jogging. I used to do that when I was in my low 20s. And this wasn't even my high school. I would go to another one just because I liked the scenery. And it would nobody be on the track. I'd be like, woohoo, this is great. I'd jog backwards, I go forwards. I would be listening to music. Music motivates me. And I would remember the songs, or I did, uh, during that jogging, during this meditation. And what it said to me was, I need to go back to doing the things that make me happy and that younger. I think younger anyway, but that vibe that I had back then, and that was my takeaway from that. And it had to be meditation because all I was doing was staring, and that caused me to block out the monkey chatter and all the other stuff around me. Um, do you think that was meditation?
Well, yeah, you hit that brainwave where you opened that portal and you received a message. You received an answer for a question you may or may not have been aware of.
Right.
And a very cool one too, hey, this is what, remember this?
Yeah.
When you have that feel good vibe, I mean, that aligns you with the universal flow, that feeling good, that inspirational, that high emotion where you feel safe and,
Yeah.
nothing bad is happening and it's just motivated. That's where we should all have an image that we can fall back on and to get into that vibe. So that
And
was
then
super.
duplicate that vibe. So, I'm not going to do this, go back
Yeah.
to mom's house like I did. Um, yeah, sort of, I guess I could jog on a track, but it would be different now. But that feeling, if you could take that feeling and then translate it to life now, I believe, even energetically, vibrationally, that would be a real good thing, just in general for anybody.
Like Neville Goddard said, feeling is the secret. The
Hmm.
feeling is this goes back to your thoughts and your feelings really dictate your experience. But yeah, the feeling state is very powerful, and being able to use that tool whenever you're feeling low, your energetic vibe is dropping. When you're feeling frustrated, stressed, anger, or anything, utilizing that tool. And that's something that meditation, when you have an ongoing practice, that's the skill that you develop. You develop the sharpness and the focus of reconnecting to a vibe or a memory, a visual or feeling state that can catapult you and elevate your frequency. But back to the technique of looking at the ball, it's a very powerful technique. And it's interesting. It's one I used. I used to use a flame or whatever. When I first started, I had to use multiple techniques. My monkey brain was just out of control, and it still is. I
Hmm.
still have bobs. It's like, oh God, I got to sit. But certain people, and I've seen this, in our workshops, that when we do the flame thing, they just immediately they go all in, and then they share kind of similar stories to what you said. So for some people, that technique works really well, where you really zero in visually on an item, and you like kind of become with the item. Just everything is shuts off, and what it does, it just gets you into that brainwave state where you can receive, and where you're open
I
to
believe
the
it works
flow.
for
Yeah.
me. I just had a flash here. I was at the gym earlier and I was on a treadmill and I stared at something on somebody's dashboard while a song was playing. And it brought me back to when I was younger on my dad's boat. Freaky, weirdest thing. Like I'm here.
That's your thing, man. That's technique. So knowing that, wherever you do your sitting, you should have a place. You should, at the best you can, designate a spot so your body has memory. When you go there, your body goes, "Oh, I know what we're going to do now." So it kind of
Hmm.
gets into the mode. You should have a place. You should have a time. Repetitiveness is the key. Routine really roots things in. So routines are a huge part of creating healthy lifestyles. Routines are key. So developing
Hmm.
creating a space and a time is cool if you're able to. And of course, you don't want to be distracted as much as you can. And then finding your technique. So for you designate a space, a time, get an object that works well for you. You place that on whatever. You can create an altar or something. Maybe have few objects. Have your music. If that works. I tend to like to have it as silent as possible. Some people work with a little slow, low music. And then that would be your vehicle to transform it and really bring the monkey brain down. And then from there, really, we want to get to a place where we're not expecting anything. We're not thinking. We're in kind of in that zone and that where nothing's happening. We're just gently aware. We're just, we know we're sitting there. We know we're meditating, but this lightness comes in, this blissfulness comes in. That's when you really feel the connectivity to everything. And it just feels so good. Those are the moments that bring you back. When I sit, pretty much every time I sit, within the first minute, I get this message. I get that feeling. I get that message. Yeah, you need to keep doing this. You need to make sure you keep doing this. You should be doing this a day or maybe multiple times a day, because that feeling for me is our trueness. It's our truth. That's our truth. All this stuff that we've been bombarded with, in our world, especially today, but forever. There's a lot of untruths there, and there's a lot of distractions, and I think that's where our suffering comes from. When we're able to have a practice where we can get back to what's real and what's true, the feeling is it's blissful. It's best way to describe it.
I hear both ways. When you meditate, just go into it and do your thing. And then I hear you need to set an intention, essentially a goal. What are you trying to achieve? What kind of information are you trying to get? What are your thoughts?
Well, like I said at the beginning, there's multiple things. There's different levels to meditation. There's various techniques. There's various ways to utilize it, and that is a way. That's a tool that when you get into those certain brain waves, and if you ask questions, and you tend to get the answers. It may not happen right away. There's two parts to, I believe, the point of your question. Setting an intention, meaning where am I going to align my thoughts and my vibe, my goal, aligning those things up to achieve certain goals. So that's very powerful. When you get into a certain state and you're able to manipulate your vibration, setting attention and aligning it with the vibration that goes with that attention to your goal. It's very powerful. Setting your attention for the day. It's very powerful stuff. But you can also, hey, if you have a question, one really good technique is, there's a portal when you go to sleep, when you wake up and when you go to sleep. And again, it's all about brain waves. That moment where you're in bed and you're not asleep yet, but you're falling asleep. It's kind of a similar brainwave that you go through when you have a sitting meditation practice. And if you ask questions, if there's something going on, you ask question then, hey, ask yourself. You're asking your subconscious, you're asking the universe, whoever's listening, you ask them that question. You tend to wake up with the answer. So that is a tool. That is another vehicle through meditation that we can use.
It's interesting what you just said, that how many of us say, I'm going to sleep on that. I'll get back to tomorrow. I'm going to sleep on that.
Right. Yeah. And that's what we, even though we're not we're not attentively asking the question, it's going on subconsciously.
Oh, yeah.
It never shuts off, it never shuts off. So it's trying to figure it out while you sleep. It's trying to figure out your whole day, actually, and put it into the right place, file it away, so to speak. So yeah, that's why, eureka's happen in the mornings usually.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're waking up with a fresh slate in terms of your mind. Before we run out of time, meditation, but also Qigong. What is that?
Yeah. So for me, my little bit of story is I started meditating. I got the message that I need to do this. I struggled very much so in the first months, just shutting the monkey brain off. And then I stumbled into Qigong, a dojo that was doing Qigong. I thought it was something else. I was into martial arts, and I was looking for something a little more physical, kind of a fighting style. And it turned out they were doing soft Qigong, and they were doing all this, I don't know what that was. But at the end of the class, they meditated. So I said, oh, well, that's interesting. And so I joined, and it catapulted my meditation. It's just a beautiful combination. Qigong it becomes, once you practice this for a bit, it becomes a moving meditation. And Qigong it's a really great marriage. And part of the practice is you sit afterwards, or you can do it standing too. But the idea is you've stimulated and circulated all this Qi energy, and Qi is the life force that travels throughout all living things. And it circulates all around us. It passes all through us, through all these points, just like the acupuncture points. So there's a big flow that's happening. And the idea of Qigong is we're releasing blockages. We're trying to free up blockages within our body to allow for this life force to flow. And with more practice, as you move along your practice, you actually you develop the skill of directing Qi. You can, there's practice in China where this was developed, like 2,000 years ago. There's hospitals full of Qigong practitioners or doctors that go around and they just, they shoot Qi or they direct Qi on patients for healing. So it's a real thing. But when you, what's my point? Oh, the meditation part of it is you're attempting to bring the energy down to what they call the low dantian, which is your core. So as you're stimulating all this flow, depending on what you're
I think we lost him.
Energy down.
There we go.
And store part of it. So meditation is a big.
Mark, it's interesting. We're talking about energy, and
practice.
now your internet connection's getting funky right at that point as we talk about energy. Very weird. I don't know if you can still. Yeah, it was right at that point. Which I'm not surprised. It happens before when energy is a topic, or a psychic is on here, that weird things happen. Sure. But we're just about out of time. Got maybe like 30 seconds left. How does somebody connect with you? I got to believe also you can work somebody through coaching wise virtually on the meditation thing. Is that possible?
Absolutely. I'm going to try to venture into doing that on a more structured basis.
Sure.
But so my phone number is always available 24/7. That's 727-519-8786. And my website, creatingchangellc.com, is probably the best way to connect with me.
Awesome. Thank you for the insight today. It backed up things that I thought of, but also gave some new ideas about meditation. And most importantly, that it is very important. Like we're missing out if we're not doing it. So I appreciate it.
I'm very serious. It's the most important things we as human beings, we should be doing.
Got to take the time.
Now.
All right. Thanks a lot. We'll talk soon. Okay.
Thank you, Steve. Bye.
We're coming right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.